What is SLU-PP-332 or SLU-PP-332? Well, first of all, it's a very hard name to pronounce, and it's not technically a peptide, it's a small molecule. But in this video, we're going to deconstruct what happened in 2023 when researchers at the University of Florida published this small study showing that a small molecule called SLU-PP-332 made obese mice gain 10 times less fat over 4 weeks without changing their food intake or exercise. These mice, they weren't running more, they weren't eating less, they were simply using more energy at rest, burning fat at a higher rate, and building more oxidative muscle. And that's pretty exciting. But don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean like, hey, now you can just go to all-you-can-eat buffets and you don't have to do anything because there's this molecule that's coming out. It's not that simple, and there's a lot of human data that needs to happen around this. So in this video, we're going to jump into the mechanism of action. We're going to talk about what SLU-PP is, why I'm excited about it, why you may have heard of this oddly sounding molecule that fits into the performance category of peptides, but is a small molecule. And so if you enjoy this video, leave a comment, let me know what you think or what you'd like to hear about more. For those of you who want to go deeper in your health and actually have protocols that are specific based on your labs, go to agelessfuture.com, get your labs run with our team, meet with one of our providers, and then each person we work with you for a year. We want to see a complete transformation of your health, and we don't want to depend on peptides, supplements, or drugs to get your health optimized. We want your body to heal itself, and that's why I love peptides, is because I found in my studies and my utilization of these for over a decade that they help the body retune the signaling. When the signalings are improved with the cells can function better. You can clear out the toxins, remove the interferences, build up the deficiencies. So, all right, let's get on to SLU-PP. SLU-PP, the mechanism of activation, it's working on these estrogen-related receptors. Now, this doesn't manipulate estrogen in any meaningful way that I've seen. Maybe some of you can talk about that, but it works on the ERR alpha, ERR beta, and ERR gamma. These are the master regulators of mitochondrial biogenesis. So that's a long word, but if you think of mitochondria, these are the energy plants in your cells. It's like the battery that turns on for better energy production. And when you can have more dense mitochondria, now you get better cell signaling, you get this energy expression. So you know how some people just exude energy? Like you look at them, you're like, wow, that person is loaded with energy. And I'm not talking about like the enthusiastic, like, Mr. Rogers energy. I guess he was pretty chill, actually. He's more like a sage. But you think of somebody who's just like giving you the Chamber of Commerce squeeze when they shake your hand. I'm not talking about that energy. I'm just talking about that gentle, vibrant energy that people have. And it's because we have mitochondria that are spinning and they rotate at a certain level, enough energy that our cells produce where you could light up a small skyscraper. I mean, that's a lot of energy. And by having this regulation of mitochondrial biogenesis, this is where the medicine has been going when it comes to longevity, because you need energy if you're going to live a long life and if you're going to enjoy your life. And so SLU-PP-332, when researchers landed on this, they got really excited, because even in the mice models, after a single administration, they found that mice could run 70% farther. Now, not only could mice be slobs and just sit there and eat their Doritos and drink their Coke and actually lose weight, 10 times the fat loss of the mice who just stayed on the diet. I mean, that's pretty exciting. But when they saw they could run farther, they said there's something to this. And so what is SLU-PP? Well, it's a synthetic pan-agonist of estrogen-related receptors. And this was a mechanism that was discovered and developed through a program led by Dr. Thomas Burris at the University of Florida. And also there's some work that was done out of St. Louis University, hence the SLU-PP, the SLU, but they specifically designed this to activate this full ERR program. All three, they wanted to figure out a molecule that would hit the alpha, the beta, and the gamma receptor simultaneously rather than targeting a single receptor. It's classified as an exercise mimetic compound that activates metabolic pathways normally triggered by endurance training without requiring the physical act of training. Now, I love exercise, and so I don't think there's ever going to be a molecule that will keep me off my mountain bike or keep me off the trails or keep me from hitting the gym. But this is one where it's like, wow, what if I want to get more energy when I work out? And when I've utilized SLU-PP, I have this trail that I climb every year. It's called Puke Hill. And if you've ever been to the Wasatch Mountains, we have these beautiful, gorgeous ranges in Utah. Come visit. And you climb up this long, steep climb. And at the top, you're at elevation, roughly 10,000 feet, and everyone's puking. That's why we call it Puke Hill. But once you get up there and you're on the top of the mountains, you're on the ridge line for about 10 miles, and it's just gorgeous. You can see the Park City side. You can see down Big Cottonwood Canyon. And so every year I'm timing myself. And when SLU-PP came out in 2023, I said, let me get a hold of that. So I reached out to one of my pharmacy friends. He's able to get some compounded for me. And I was able to shave off 3 minutes of my time. Now, that was pretty substantial for a climb like that. With that said, SLU-PP-332, this is not FDA approved. There's a lot more human data. We need some human clinical trials. We are working under an IRB with SLU-PP, and so I'll be sharing that research as it comes out. But you want to look at this as a compound that can help optimize your functions when you're exercising. And so if you think of this ER alpha, ER beta, and ERR once again is estrogen-related receptors, these are nuclear receptors and they bind on the nucleus to regulate gene expression and gene transcription. They are the master regulators of your mitochondrial metabolism, and when they're activated by exercise, they drive the expression of genes. And you could imagine these genes are going to help you burn fat better, you're going to get better energy, you're going to have more oxidative phosphorylation, you're going to have more mitochondrial production, and you'll get the conversion of muscle fibers towards a slow twitch. And these slow twitch are more of this dominant fiber in marathon runners. This is probably why the animals could run 70% farther, because now the slow twitch muscle fibers got called into gear. And this is really important because now you can use glucose in this what's called GLUT4 transportation. Glucose can be carried into the muscle without the presence of insulin. So you can imagine you endurance runners out there, and yes, it's almost summer here in Utah, and so we've got, my son and I have some very fun endurance runs, some ultra races coming up, and so I'm thinking, okay, I need more of this slow twitch muscle fibers and more GLUT4 activation, because you're burning more energy through your activity than you can possibly keep up with on consumption. And so they have some of these mitochondrial peptides like MOTC, SS31, which I love, SLU-PP-332, 5-amino-1-MQ. These become very key tools for me to be able to continually run these long races and keep up with my 20-year-old son, kind of. He's a lot better robustness than I do. But if you think of SLU-PP, so SLU-PP's binding to all three of these estrogen-related receptor subtype, and it turns on the genes without a single muscle contraction. So that's pretty exciting. The activated gene includes the DDI-T4 upregulation. It also increases this mitochondrial substrate transport. It enhances the electron transport chain. So if you have like methylene blue is in your protocol, this can be a good one to combine. But make sure you're not using methylene blue. If you're on SSRIs and start at a lower dose, like 10 milligrams, methylene blue can be really powerful. Make sure you know the source too. Once again, if you want to work deeply on your health, go to agelessfuture.com. My team can help put a protocol together for you. But when you're using this SLU-PP-332, you get these type 2 wave muscle fibers that are activated, and the result is more mitochondria, more oxidative enzymes, higher fatty acid utilization capacity, and improved endurance against fatigue. So who doesn't want that? You know, in one of the studies in 2024, this was an NIH study, they were looking at these multiple mouse models of obesity and metabolic syndrome, and what they found is that there was this acute decrease in respiratory exchange. Within 2 hours of dosing, the body shifted immediately from fat towards fat as a fuel source. There's a 25% increase in fatty acid oxidation and a 12% reduction in body weight in the diet-induced obese mice over 28 days. And so I think there's a lot of exciting things that we want to look at when it comes to SLU-PP. It's a molecule I've been super excited about since I first read about it in 2023. For those of you who have great experiences on it, love to hear what your results have been. I've experimented with higher doses doses and lower doses, one of the things I notice is I sweat much easier if I'm on the higher dose. So once again, work with the provider, get your blood labs ran before you ever start on any peptides or any protocol. Really appreciate you being on the channel. For those of you who want to go deeper, I've got another video on ModSC, and when is the best time to take it? We'll provide a link in the show notes below.